looking at
May
myself on my own
24th.
camera.
This is like the first Twitch cast that we've done in a while, a month and a half, maybe.
Yeah, it's been, I think, it's almost June, and I think the last one I pulled up was sometime in March.
Yeah.
So 2 months plus. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, we've been a busy beavers, as usual. I think.
Dustin, do you need to restart something?
I go back and I watch some of these Twitch casts, and I think every time we kick it off with, man, we've been super busy this week. So much going on.
It's like the worst excuses ever, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
All right, let's talk. We got a lot of stuff to cover tonight. We'll kick it off a little bit with just touch on this briefly. A lot of the people that we don't have to get into what I posted today that seems to get the godfather of esports on Reddit worked up or anything. But, I just I've been really bothered lately, and we'll talk about some of the meetings that I've been to here in a second, but I've been really bothered lately by, the surge into esports investing and new things being formed and all of these top layers being added on, yet nobody's, focused really on the lower levels. And some meetings I had last week with some pretty big organizations that are getting into esports, that have agreed to get into esports, that are coming to us saying, okay, for a guy that's been in esports for this long, we're ready to form a team. How do we find the players? And immediately I asked that question to anybody, how do you find the best players? Well, let's see, you can sit in online leaderboards and you can watch which teams are rising to the top of independent players, and then try to go poach a player from a team, or, maybe host your own invitational and try to invite teams in. But who can actually come to your invitational and afford to attend your invitational unless, so then you can try to hold some online things. Well, then, the problem with esports and professional athletes in general is that you're really trying to find somebody that's a good representation of your organization. So you're not just looking for who can kill the most people. A lot of times you're looking for who holds themselves well in a press conference, who looks and performs good in front of the camera, who's going to be involved with the community and get a fan base to follow them because they have a great personality. I mean, I understand there's a lot of really good esports players that can just feel comfortable sitting, in front of a camera and playing the game and letting their play speak for themselves. But, the marketable ones are the ones that are going to do, the morning talk shows and the late night newscasts and get interviewed after the game and say crazy things. I mean, it could be the Dennis Rodmans or it could be the Michael Jordans, but, somebody's got to be able to put butts in seats for watching these streams. So,
right.
There's this limited pool that you can draw from as a professional organization because there's no structure beneath it, and I know we work with all of these colleges that have all of these players, and just trying to recruit players for their program is almost impossible because, it's not like traditional sports where the allure of big dollars from the pro scene, brings them all in. It's just, there's just not that many players. Like you can play on a professional team and earn money and still go to college and get a scholarship right now for esports. I think that's great. The problem is that there's no farm system. There's no little leagues. There's no high school leagues. There's nothing for people to do that don't want to go down that path. Like myself, like I want the old man's league. I had a call today with Joe from New Jersey, and, they're looking at starting up a LAN center and want to get into high school esports. He said, why can't it be like a bowling league? And I said, well, the problem is that with a bowling league, you go to a bowling league because competition in bowling is kind of what you're into, and you can relate to people. But then you're going for the camaraderie, and you're going for the beer, and you're going for the food, and it's something to do on a Tuesday night. You can't do that at home with esports. Like where's the old dude bowling league for any esport? It's just not out there. I mean, the closest thing out there is, there are organizations that gather as a community and do things like for Battlefield. It's a great example because it's such a massive game, and you can form a community in teams of 30 or 40 players and jump into a server and all of you kind of work together. I know a lot of older guys that do that. Younger kids aren't that interested in that. And again, there's no real support from EA or any other organization to form the old man league in Battlefield. Like seniors or whatever. I mean, every other sport has so many layers of competition that anybody anywhere can get into. You can get in the women's tennis group, you can get into the mixed doubles group, you can get into the senior group. I mean, everybody has it, but esports doesn't. So when I say esports is not a sport, that's exactly what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that there's no structure behind it all. Sure, it's a competition. I'm not talking about whether it's athletic or not. Those things don't really matter. What really matters is that, to me, sports is something that gives everybody the ability to compete on whatever level they feel comfortable. And esports does not have that. Like, you either have to go pro or go home in esports. I don't know. So, that's kind of been my morning, producing that and then kind of answering some questions with it. But I don't really want to focus too much on it. A lot of it, I just want to say that we're going to talk about some things that we're doing with ggCircuit over the next couple of months with high schools. We're being active in trying to solve that problem. And we believe that between LAN centers and arenas at universities and family entertainment centers that are adding this in and everything else that's going on in our world, we believe there's going to be enough locations, at least in the United States, but also all over the world, that we can give players the option to go down for Tuesday night, 40 plus league night. Like, you got to be over 40 years old to play in the league night in this particular night, because there may be 2 of you at this center and 3 of you at this center and 5 of you there, but we can qualify you. We can put you into that space. We can match you up on teams, and we can let you have fun doing what you wish you could do. You just can't do that right now in esports anywhere else.
Yeah. A lot of the questions, not to kind of be a devil's advocate, but in going to some of these universities and sitting in their arenas, setting up our software and whatnot, the coaches are their age, if not younger, the college age
Right.
kids.
Yep.
And even though soccer's a world sport, it took a long time to really grab hold here in America. And I'm just wondering if it's just because it's just going to take time to have those seasoned veterans that are able to coach and able to provide those teams that just don't exist now because it's such a new thing.
Right. And I don't know, like, we'd have to look at other more recent sports, and you'd have to go into kind of like the extreme sports field is where I go a little bit in that analogy, because traditional sports that are big, that have massive professional athletes and huge television contracts and things, those were competitions casually long before they were professional. So you've got to almost look towards things like, I don't know, like motocross, or things. Yeah, I mean, the things that you did that were like competitions and fun things that you did for a while, but they really jumped into the limelight when they became professional sports more so than traditional sports. So, it's hard because basketball, baseball, none of us were around. Like, we can do some research and find out, that basketball started as I think it was like in a community center. And then it spread around to other community centers. And basically, like, it was just a recreational thing for a long time before it became a professional thing. Every other sport today, like, as soon as you invent a way to compete with today's technology and media and everything else, you can almost instantly create it into a bigger play. But somebody had a pretty good point today. Like, you obviously can't form a skiing league in Texas, like a snow skiing league in Texas. Like, there's some sports that just don't work. You can get into water skiing all you want, but if you live in Arizona, in a dry, dusty area without a lake, not a lot of water skiing practice you can get in. So I understand that as well, but
some of that's economical too. Golf doesn't work in inner cities.
Right.
Snow skiing doesn't work in deserts, but yeah.
Right. I hate to think of esports being something that's elitist. Like, that's what bothers me, is because it's so universal and because it doesn't require, because it does have the ability for the internet to participate players or to connect players from different regions. Like, I hate thinking about it being a rich kid sport, and it really kind of is right now. I mean, there's not many esports professionals that, number one, make it very long in the profession because like they run out of money, or that can even get started in the first place, because you almost have to drop everything and be willing to move somewhere and put it all on the line for some of these things, and travel a ton, and maybe you break even or try to get a sponsor, or so it ends up being something you've got to be. I mean, kids say that all the time in esports, like, I want to get funded, like, I'm looking for an organization, I want to get funded. It's because they're broke, like they need to go win money so they can have a chance to go win money again. And to me, again, like, the root of competition shouldn't always be about money. Like, a lot of it was, some of my favorite memories in basketball was going to the playground and just, there'd be 5 players running the court, winning every match. And in the playground, like, you lose, you walk, and if you win, you stay on the court. And there's nothing better than walking onto a court and taking out a team that's won 5 or 6 times in a row, and then staying and playing and defending against other teams that step up. I mean, there's not even any media there or anything else. It's just you and those players head to head. That's some of my favorite memories of playing, when I was growing up through high school and college. It wasn't organized play where you were playing for something at the schools. But again, I never made it far enough to play for money. But I knew that. Like, I knew that going through the system. I knew I was never going to play professionally. It was just, 1% of 1% play professionally, or whatever the number is. So, all right. Anyway, let's move on. We have a lot of stuff to cover tonight. A lot of things to cover. Okay. Just some quick recaps of some trips we've been on lately. But a lot of people, if you're connected with me on Facebook or in the ggCircuit private group, you've seen us. We've been traveling a lot. So we're off to Atlantic City last week. Dustin, Mark, and I drove this giant truck out, 800 miles, I think it was, through a bunch of toll booths, through a bunch of weird back roads, through the hills where we could only get 45 miles up the mountains of Pennsylvania, only 45 miles an hour, get out to New Jersey, get into this old casino. It's super creepy. It's been shut down forever. They're bringing it back. It's a revitalization of a couple of casinos in that area over the next couple of years, and this is kind of the first one that's getting started. So, just a real interesting project to be involved with. We're very lucky and fortunate to know some of the people that were inside on that deal. I mean, they have a really great arena space that they're going to be building out, hopefully, and running some cool, bigger esports events. And then they have a LAN center, like an esports arena that's running 7 days a week with the Gamers Heaven guys, Andrew and his team out of Philadelphia. That's kind of a satellite location for them. So we were there to help them get systems set up. We took them some systems out from our stash for the conventions. It's part of a bigger fan expo with a lot of celebrities. Like, I think this weekend, a couple Overwatch voice actors are going to be out there. So it's just a real interesting play on just what could happen in this industry, just different plays that are happening in esports and different ideas that people have for using space like this abandoned casino that, I think most people know that our demographic and younger, we're not that big of gamblers like an older demographic was. Like, for us, again, playing video games is what we grew up on. And this is how we like to muscle up and flex our biceps and see how good we are. So I think it could become a pretty big deal for the casino industry down the road. And, obviously with our coin and prize system, ggCircuit is right in the thick of things. And we've had some pretty interesting discussions with casinos. We'll have to see where that goes in the next few months. But that New Jersey trip was pretty cool. And we may be going back out to help them if they've got some stuff they need help with. Some bigger players get involved with some of the regular stuff. But that was a cool trip. Anything else you want to say on that one, J-Mac, before we move on? No?
No, I wasn't there. So yeah. I don't know. It's fun to watch.
I didn't know. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, you're one of the guys on the outside. Is there any questions you have about what we're doing there, or was you pretty much know enough to know? I mean, again, we'll know more in the next couple months, kind of how that's. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, for those that don't know, just kind of elaborate a little bit. They're doing something called the Atlantic City Fan Expo in the Showboat Hotel, formerly Casino. So, and correct me if I'm wrong, but it's pretty much going to be a summer-long convention with different events going on, a LAN center running, uh, celebrity guests, just like, more spread out than jammed into a 4-day
Right.
event. So if you're in that area, make sure you go check it out. And GG Leap and ggCircuit will be represented. And
It's a big vacation destination. So they told me 2.4 million people come to the boardwalk there in Atlantic City every summer. It's right on the beach. It's beautiful. We went out there a couple days. We weren't there long. We weren't outside long. We were inside working most of the time. But I could see where the draw is for bringing in families and people on vacation to that area. There's a big carnival set up on a pier. There's lots of shopping. There's lots of restaurants, tons of hotel rooms. I mean, the Showboat Hotel has 1,300 hotel rooms attached to this system. So, it is like a Comic-Con going on all summer long. But if you're there with the family, like you come in, it's like $19 for a pass to come in and walk through the artist booths, get in line and meet a couple celebrities, jump in the LAN center, watch some esports. Like it's a great idea, like it's to be determined. Literally the rubber hits the road this weekend when they open up and they start testing this out. And then over the next month, as it kind of ramps up and they bring in more artists and things, is the public going to respond? So are the people walking up and down the boardwalk going to come into that hotel and interact? Mm-hmm. Second thing we want to talk about real quickly is E3. Mark and I will be going out there. We're working on a project with Alienware and Dell Gaming to run their booths at their shows. Our software will run their booths at their shows as part of our version that we run at all the Best Buy stores here in the U.S. Not all the Best Buys, 50 Best Buy locations here in the U.S. Have an Alienware display, and GG Leap runs those displays. It launches games and allows players to play the actual game for 15 minutes on the Alienware PCs. So we'll be at E3 as part of that. We're not going to be running their booths because we're in the middle of finalizing all the contracts and everything with their legal department. But we will be, I think, going to San Diego Comic-Con with their 2 booths there. So we're going to E3. Mark and I will be there. I'll be sending out a lot of invites, trying to hook up with as many other people that'll be out at E3. Love to meet up with people. So if you're going to be there, you want to meet up, let me know. And then the other big industry news is just touch on this a little bit. And I think it's okay to say who, but I don't know. I mean, I always ask forgiveness later, but through a couple contacts, we met up with the Pacers organization as they're looking to put together their esports team for the upcoming 2017-18 season. But the NBA announced their E-League, and 17 franchises joined. The Pacers were one of them. And so the Pacers are starting through that process. This is where a lot of my questions are coming up in the overall state of esports today. But we're going to start working with them. And my goal would be, again, looking to figure out how to generate players that could feed into this system, because they're just not out there today. There's just not the problem is you go to Twitch and you go to YouTube and you find animated active players that have a lot of viewers and fans that follow them. And so those are the ones that pop right up when you search for NBA 2K17 players, but those don't necessarily make the best players to work together in a team of 5, because this is bizarre, general NBA 2K17 play is seen as one-on-one. So you control the ball, you pass it to another player, and then you take control of that player. This is 5-on-5, which is going to be interesting for a lot of these players to adjust to playing in that realm, because if you don't have the ball, you're still controlling a player. And, I told them, I said, one of the fun things about this is that it maybe shouldn't be that we shoehorn the ideas of traditional basketball on 5 players that are playing an esport, because it's not the same as traditional basketball. These players will be able to play and practice 8 to 10 hours a day without losing the physical fatigue that a normal player would. Not to mention that professional NBA players are probably contractually not going to practice for 10 hours a day, especially during the season. But we may see things develop from allowing these players to kind of have free realm to come up with their own creative ideas on the court for plays that could be translated into things that the NBA players try, or maybe coaches watch and see, hey, we've never been able to try that, because you don't have time to experiment with bizarre things. Like, you literally sit down, unless you're Phil Jackson, you sit down and you're like, hey, we're going to either play zone, we're going to play some sort of man-to-man, or we're going to play some sort of amoeba, in between. And, here we're going to run this play out of bounds. Like, there's just not that much time to try stuff, like, hey, guys, every Thursdays come up with a wacky play day. Like, you don't do that at high school or college or in the profession. You just don't have enough time. Time is precious when you've got all the players there and you're playing in the gymnasium. So fun stuff happening with that coming up as well. There's other stuff we're working on that we'll hopefully be able to talk about. I always say next week on the Twitchcast, but who knows if we can even get together next week, since we'll be traveling up to see.
My question on that thing with the NBA is there actually a 5-on-5 mode that can be done?
Yeah. We're setting that up right now in eBash because we want to run some tests on it. So we're in the process of setting up 5 PlayStations on, and we don't know if it's going to be on PlayStation or Xbox. So, before anybody says, oh my gosh, I went out and bought a PlayStation, because we don't know. The league has not determined what it's going to be on, but we're setting up 5 players on one side of the tables, 5 players on the other side of the tables, and we're trying to go through the different configurations. But that is a mode. Like, if you go Google or look on YouTube, there's videos on there that during the NBA All-Star game this year, they actually played a $250,000 match between 2 teams. And what they did is they did what I just said. They went online and they found YouTube people and they told them all to make teams. They had 32 teams online playing until the top 2 got invited to the NBA All-Star weekend, and those 2 teams played each other. And then after the team won, they actually played against 5 NBA players. Like Kevin Durant was out there, Paul George was out there, like sitting on the other team's stage playing against, and they actually hung with them for a little bit, but then the esports guys whooped them because obviously the NBA guy, and if I was the NBA guy, I would be like, Durant's playing his character in the game, and he's getting swatted by this little character from the other team, and in my mind, I'm thinking, he's like, there's no way, little man, you would ever do that to me, like, let's go play on the real court. But so it is a mode that's available, and it's just not common. Like, it's one of the problems with esports. It's not that easy to get 5 guys to work together and agree to play in that format, because in video games you want to be in control. So, great, cool stuff going to be happening over the next few months as we kind of find our way through that system and figure out. So the Pacers, I shouldn't say what I'm not exactly sure. We didn't sign an NDA or anything, but I'm not exactly sure what's public knowledge or not. But, the plans in place, they've got a lot of things they've got to get done. And a lot of it stems from finding 5 players. And even that process is not decided yet. Will there be a combine? Do you have to make all the players available to all the teams? Will there be a draft? Or like, can we immediately as ggCircuit start holding NBA 2K17 tournaments between all of our stores? And literally, like, there won't be a prize other than we're recording all the matches and scouts are watching, and you could get drafted onto a professional NBA team. Like, that's what it should be. It shouldn't be like, I'm going to play this weekend and try to win $5,000. It should be like, I'm hoping to play and be good enough to get picked up by a team to come in and maybe try out for their team. So super fun, super cool stuff. All right, let's get into some nuts and bolts of things going on with us. So GG Leap updates, all kinds of stuff going on. Feel like this is a broken record. It's coming soon. Here we go. Rolling this out, next week. It'll be next week, or it'll be next month. Like, hopefully Dustin has got some of this stuff set up. I hate this because we can't see on our screens what exactly Dustin's about to show. But we're right in the middle of releasing ggCircuit integration. And so May 9th, again, it feels like months ago, but on May 9th, so that was, 15 days ago, we flipped the switch and stopped supporting all other management software besides GG Leap with ggCircuit, so that we could integrate those 2 systems and just run one set of users, one set of usernames, passwords. It's just going to make everything easier for us. So from that date, we began doing the integration for the client. And like, what we should do is we should do a Twitchcast next week and have Chris on the call. And we should say to Chris, okay, Chris, our viewers want to know what will be the release date of this. And that way Chris can be on record, on screen. He has to say it out loud. But, it is literally coming anytime. And by any time, it's going to be done before season 6, which we'll talk about in a minute. But basically, the functionality that needs to be put in, most importantly, is the ability to link your player accounts in the games inside of the interface of ggLeap. So, when you launch, and we'll show some of the new game screens here in a second, but when you launch a supported game, it'll pop up with a game screen and give you the ability to connect your in-game account at that point. And then we want to have a couple new games integrated. So again, I have no idea what Dustin's got showing or what he can show right now, but we do have some screens, I think, of some of the new game sections that we could put up. Yeah, I don't like this setup at all, with no idea what Dustin's doing. So we've got some setups of some of the new game screens that are coming out as part of that. We're launching the games. The game launcher is going away. You'll be able to launch the game right from the game's detail page. So think of it like this. Counter-Strike box art comes up. You click on Counter-Strike box art. It pops up, and then you have a detailed screen then about Counter-Strike. So game ratings, a little detail about what kind of game it is, how popular the game is amongst all the ggLeap centers, the ability to link your account if that game supports it, and then a play game button, which is bright green. And we want to have the option when you hit play game that it'll tree out if your center has this available, and give them the option to then launch with a house account or launch with their personal account. So that is kind of the whole new game launching system. So no more clicking the game and then going down and hitting I guess on the camera it'd be down here, going down and hitting the game launcher. It'll be a lot more defined, like you click on the box art, and out from the box art pops more information about the game. And you can kind of see everything from there. So that's coming as part of this rollout. The new point of sale interface is coming along nicely. We wanted to give a video demonstration today. It just wasn't quite ready to do a video for. Some of you have seen some of those screenshots. Don't know if Dustin's got some of those to pop on the screen or not. But that is a big project. That's a big piece of what we're doing. A lot of people are waiting on that piece, and goes right along with that, ordering and doing transactions at the client level. So a player can order things right at the client, for any kind of kiosk ordering down the road, for online ordering down the road, all of that stuff. The foundation of all that's the point of sale system that needs to be robust. It needs to be touchscreen enabled and ready for your iOS or your Android devices if you want to have those at the front counter for your staff, or you can just use them on your normal PCs in a web-based scenario, like always, like everything we do with ggLeap. What else is going on with ggLeap? Anything else I forgot, J-Mac?
No, I guess just in general, things have been fairly quiet.
Which is a good point. Everything's really solid right now. Knock on wood.
It's been pretty quiet for a few weeks, I think, and I feel like the last 2 times that we've had downtime, it's just been growing pains, where we've had to open up larger servers or whatever to be able to fit all of our customers that seem to be rolling in, which is a great problem to have. But at the same time, now, because of this has happened the last couple times, we've put in some automated processes in the back that will warn us way before that happens, so that we can get out ahead of any potential downtime in the future. I think at this point we've gotten rid of any third party that's reliant upon a major piece of our software, and have just ended up writing it ourselves. But it's a very interesting time, where we're at. Everything comes in cycles, but the cycle of the early 2000s of the LAN center is really coming around again, because every day we get 1 to 2 people kind of out of the blue saying, "Hey, I'm planning on doing this. How can you help me?" Or how can your software help me? So all in all, things are going pretty well. We're as anxious as every center out there that's waiting on one thing or 2 things. Sometimes life happens with our staff, and that was the case, a positive case in the last couple of weeks, that one of our developers had a baby, so he's been off for a little while. So we haven't been able to get to some support issues as quickly as possible. But,
hey, we're just expanding the development team.
Yeah.
That's all we're doing.
And then we're going to have a new sales rep sometime next Christmas. One of Ross's
third. Yeah, I don't. Is that public?
Well,
Are you allowed to say that?
I don't think I'm allowed to say that.
Oh,
I probably
geez.
just jinx the whole thing.
Dustin's like, what? What's happening?
But anyway,
yeah. And the other thing I was going to say when you said that too is because a lot of the work's been done on the backside and it's been super quiet because there's not downtime, there's not issues. I mean, those are things that we needed to solidify before we launch anyway. So, just even recently, the past couple of weeks, we're putting in some new features and things like the heartbeat sensor, we call it, where the client itself now is a little more smart and looking for its master out there on the internet and says, hey, if I can't see it, if I'm not getting a response, then restart my UI so that I can get back in touch with the master server. So things like small outages that would blips or differences that would normally cause a center owner to run around and reboot all their PCs. Now the PCs are smarter and they're like, oh, hold on a second. It's been a little bit. I haven't heard from the master right now. I better restart myself. So you can imagine like guys in a League of Legends game and playing a League of Legends game, there's a little blip, something happens or whatever, and the client loses connection. Right now, the client didn't know any better. It just sat there in a dumb state and the player just kept playing and, the time wasn't running. There was no communication. You had to restart that to get it back again. Now that'll restart behind the scenes without the player losing any time in their game, and they won't even know any better. Like those will be things that it's not like we can do a big release and fanfare on like, hey, guess what? You don't have to worry about the client staying disconnected more than 1 minute at a time now because it'll resync itself automatically with the heartbeat program. So yeah, there's lots and lots of stuff going on behind the scenes, but man, are we desperate for something forward facing. Like the salmon flocking to the streams of Capistrano or whatever it is, that's just, can't wait for it. All right, so let's talk about ggCircuit. So season 6 is coming up, and basically we haven't ran a season in about a year. I think, J-Mac, it's been almost a year because we were switching gears and putting a pause on the season and focusing on GG Leap, and now that's kind of coming full circle after a year of massive development, building our own, fully integrated management system. We're now able to go back into doing what the core of what we are is. I mean, we want the system to function. We want all these features. We want the management system to be awesome. But the core of what we are is we're a redemption and competitive company. That's what we set out to build with ggCircuit. That's what ggCircuit was started with in 2008 as a competition system between centers. So season 6 is going to be launching, and a couple little updates on some dates here. But we were shooting for July the 5th. We are going to launch a test week July the 5th with some select centers.
I think you mean June.
June, yes, June the 5th, sorry. So June the 5th, we're going to launch with some select centers in a test. You can ask us, that's fine if you want to participate, but there's no reason, there's nothing that you'll see special or whatever else. We may not even show you what the data is. We're just going to probably select a few centers and run behind the scenes the data so we can watch it coming in that first week. Then the second week, which will be June the 12th, we'll run more of a public one that week. So then we'll let centers know, okay, here's the link, here's the pages, kind of watch the data this week. And then we're going to launch the season full force on Monday, June 19th. So that's a little bit of an update a couple weeks back. And the two reasons are, there's a couple more than two reasons, but the main reason is because we wanted to make sure and get the prize crates and things out. So we'll talk about those in a minute. Dustin will have some slides for those in just a second. But for season 6, the really benefit of waiting a little bit could be we're working on a new jackpot system, which is like a coin bonus system that builds over time during the week as your players play more games. And then there's a regional jackpot. Probably is not going to be a worldwide jackpot, but right now we'll keep it to regions. And then we wanted to make sure we get these prizes out. And then I'm desperate to have a few new games in this season. So we're really, really close on Overwatch, World of Tanks, I don't think we'll probably pull off CSGO by then, just because it's a different bird than the other ones. But man, if we could just get Overwatch into this next season, I think that'll make a difference in kind of getting a lot of centers involved in things. So let's just jump in real quickly to the prize crate thing. So this is my new harebrained idea. We'll see if it sticks in season 7 and season 8, like I hope it does with new sponsors. But what we did is I went to Gary at eBlue, and he just kind of owes me a couple favors, and I just called in a couple favors on some things and said, listen, I need to try this out. We need to provide some prizes for these centers that don't cost them the full cost. And so we've got 2 different types of prize crates. So again, I have no idea what Dustin's showing or if he has any slides for any of this stuff, but the basic prize crate, which will have plenty of these available. What we're doing is we're having our trophy company make medals. So the basic prize crate for each center will come with 8 medals and 1 trophy. And basically the 8 medals are for each weekly winner. And you can choose whether or not at each your centers, at your center, you can choose what you want to do. But what we will do at eBash is that if the same person wins the 2nd or 3rd or 4th week, we'll pass the medal down to the next closest in line behind them. So that way we have 8 actual players win a medal. But there's a medal that'll have ggCircuit 6, season 6 weekly champion medals. So there'll be 8 of those in that prize pack. And then there'll be a trophy in that prize pack, which is it's about a 10-inch tall acrylic, black acrylic with a base trophy that has ggCircuit season 6 overall champion for your center. And then we're going to put your logo for your store on each one. So it's going to take some coordination from us getting good quality logos from each of you. Those are available in just about any quantities. As long as we get orders in the next 2 weeks, we can pretty much get whatever we want for anybody. The difference would be, so we're going to sell those packs for $50. It's literally our cost, including the shipping out in the United States. If anybody in the other markets wants those, no problem. It shouldn't be that expensive to ship them to you as well, because they'll all break down and fit in a standard envelope. And I'm assuming most of the countries that we deal with, there's the ability for us to put these into a little padded envelope, whether we do DHL or FedEx or UPS or even the Postal Service. We'll use one of those standard envelopes, so shipping should be pretty cheap to get it out to everybody. I really would like to get those out to everybody before the season starts. So you've got those medals. So the first week right away, you put a medal on a person, you take their picture, put it on social media. Those are $50 for the basic crates. The ultimate crate is going to include the prize pack from eBlue. Those are going to be $150. Again, that includes shipping in the United States, and as cheaply as we can get those into boxes, it's going to come with 2 keyboards, 2 mice, 2 headsets, 2 mouse pads. So the objective will be every week of the season, you'll have 2 winners. Again, it's up to you whether you want to give it to the people that win based on the ladder. And what we'll do at eBash is there's a ggCircuit random selection tool that we will make available for you. And that's what we will do, is that every point earned during the season week will be an entry into the drawing, and we'll draw a winner for those prizes at the end of each week. So that way every player feels like they have a chance to win those prizes, not just the top 1 or 2 players. And first week might be keyboard and mouse pad, next week might be headset and mouse, the 3rd week might be headset and mouse pad, the 4th week might be, you can break those up however you want. That'll give you prizes to go all through the season. And then the center prize, we're bringing back the ggCircuit trophy instead of, and this is expensive, so we're spending some money on this bad boy, but we originally made one and it went to XD land, and then it went to South America. I don't know if it's still stuck with Anselmo or if we actually sent it to Hub Esports or not. It got stuck because it's cumbersome to ship. It's hard to get it shipped around. I was having them ship it back to me. We put the labels on it. Right now, what we're going to do is every time a center wins, you're going to get the trophy and you're going to get to keep the trophy. So whoever, sorry for the previous center winners, season winners, you don't get to keep the trophy, but the new ones will have made and shipped out to the winning center, so they'll be able to display it in their stores. And it's just worldwide winner. Sorry, there's only one ggCircuit season trophy, so we don't care where you're at. We'll ship it anywhere in the world. I say that, and there's probably like somewhere that's going to cost me like $900 to ship it, but we'll ship it anywhere in the world to whoever wins that. No purchase necessary. excuse me, and then the jackpot system will be put in. Again, no purchase necessary for that. The concept is that the players through the week build up this jackpot and they win extra coins on Monday for the previous week's accomplishments. And like always, we're going to be trying to jam as many prizes as we can in the global prize vault to help you guys with redeeming those prizes as well. So just to recap real quickly, there's season 6 will start on June 19th. We're going to release. The problem with the ultimate crates is we only have 35. I might be able to get a few more, but it's really limited based on it's over $15,000 worth of prizes that eBlue's providing to us. So, it was a lot to ask of them, even though it doesn't seem like that much per center. It's a lot to ask for them to provide for the whole group of us. My goal is for season 7 to get them in quantities of 100. So we're going to go to sponsors and say, listen, we want you to provide a prize for this prize pack. You ship it to us, we'll ship it out to everybody else, but we need a minimum of 100. Right now with 35, what we'll do is we will send the link out to buy those ultimate crates tomorrow to the platinum centers first. And then on Friday, we'll send them to the gold centers. Saturday, we'll send them to the silver centers. Sunday, we'll send them to the bronze centers. And then Monday, we'll open it up to everybody at that point. So there's only 35 available. I apologize. I was trying to think of the best way to do it. I don't want it to be a thing where we announce a time and then everybody tries. Like, we have to be respectful for those centers that, have jumped in at the Platinum Pioneer level and the Gold Pioneer level first and foremost. So we'll make it available to them first. There's 35 total packages. So luckily, excuse me, I know a few of our centers at the top are not even open yet. So hopefully they'll defer to those centers that are actually open for this season. I don't know if that's how we'll do it in the following seasons or not, but that's just the best way we came up of kind of producing that for the season. So J-Mac, what have I forgotten about season 6?
I think you covered it all. The only thing, and I know we're going to have a lot of questions on this jackpot topic, and really it's an idea that's forming. We're going to do it, but we don't have minutia details on it yet. So just kind of keep it in the back of your mind that it's something that's going to happen with the season. We just don't have the full details, but it's going to be awesome. I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it'll be something that we want to keep going year round. So the concept will be during the season, the jackpot will be built up based on what we call skill coins now. So it's the coins earned in games, and that'll build the number of games played in the number of skill coins earned will rank you in that jackpot chase for the week. And then what we'd like to do is we want to have the jackpots build a regional massive jackpot that when it hits a threshold of, again, we'll define these later, but we're thinking of literally like 500,000 coins. Once that hits that 500,000 coins threshold, then that is awarded to the top 20 players in that region at that point, split up by percentages. So, and then after that jackpot's hit, then it starts to rebuild the next jackpot. And maybe the second time that region goes for a 750,000 coin jackpot or a million coin jackpot or something like that. So we're still trying to figure our way through that a little bit. And then we want to have some massive prizes to be able to put in so that we try to help absorb some of that, the coins being dumped in at a big rate. But it's really those big, huge amounts of coins are meant to be, and I think it will do this. That's why we're doing it, but it's meant to be a thing that pushes players into your center, to obsessively chase that goal over a week's period or a month's period or whatever it takes to hit that jackpot level and try to be in that top 20 when that jackpot level hits. So we want that to be where they're spending a lot of money in your store to try to build that up. And then the price to pay for the stores would be literally just absorbing whatever you've got to give out. So you've got to be aware of that. You may want to adjust some prices. If you've got really good players that are going to hit these jackpots, it's going to, it could dump 20,000 coins onto a player in your store instantly, so you don't want your day passes to be 500 coins and that dude just won, 2 months of free gaming, which again, I don't know that that's that bad of a deal. If they just spent every day of the last 30 days in your store trying to win that jackpot, probably gonna more than pay for it. So, all right, jumping right along here, still a couple things left to cover. high school Wandemoniums are coming. Okay, so June 24th, we're going to do a League of Legends high school Wandemonium. Now, I talked about this briefly in the Facebook group. So the date for sure is June 24th. It is going to be WAN format for this first one. Again, we'll take feedback from centers. If we think we can move it to the old school format of LAN play Saturday, top teams on WAN play on Sunday, we'll move it later. But the center fee to join is $50. All we're going to do is take all that $50, pay it out 80-20 to the top two teams. The kicker on this is that for this first high school event, it is like, this is the most important thing for me in the whole high school program, is that LAN center owners, we need you to be 100% honest with making sure these are high school players. Like, they need to be going into high school in the fall or just graduated seniors. So that way you've got 5 years worth of potential players that can join, and they must be from the same high school. So I want to make sure you understand that it's not that you can just get high school players from all around the area and form a high school all-star team. I want every center. My goal is that every center gets, I would love it if every center gets 5 high school teams. I think every center has 5 high schools in their region that they could get 1 high school team from each high school. But that's my goal for this, because we have an opportunity to feed high school teams into in IUPUI in Indianapolis is having a tournament in September, an invitational where they're going to have high school teams come in and play for $10,000 in scholarships at their school. Now, again, Devon's teams in Hawaii may not be interested in flying up to Indianapolis and trying to win a scholarship, at that school. But at the same time, if they win one of our tournaments here, we get 10 or 20 centers to join. They may win $500 or $1,000 from our little tournament here that'll help them with their travel up in September. So players will not pay anything to ggCircuit. Players will just pay a venue fee at your local center to play. So you can recover your $50 entry fee with players paying you their venue fee. Again, we're going to shoot for like $10 a player. We don't want it to be expensive. So, if you got a team of 5 high school players coming in for League of Legends, one team of 5, $50, you've got your money back. You paid to enter the tournament. Second team in, you've made $50. You just got to be able they've got to all be able to play at one time. So if you want to host 4 teams, you need to have 20 PCs available for them, or offer them some sort of BYOC option to bring their PCs in. They need to be physically at your center. That is another key. But most importantly, they have to be in high school. They have to be from the same high school. Then July 22nd, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do it for Overwatch. $50 center fee. Players pay a local venue fee, no tournament fee to ggCircuit. Top teams win 80-20, first and second place of that prize pool consisting of the $50 center fees that are paid in. We'll have all of that stuff available for signups next week on the website. We'll have all the details for all that. If you want to join, there's no limit to that other than obviously for League of Legends and Overwatch. We're going to run it first and foremost in North America. All the players have to be on the North America servers. If enough of you want to do this in Europe, I know Ross is all on board for organizing this in Europe. And again, it won't take very many of you to have a decent tournament. If 4 centers do it and each of you get 5 high schools, you've got a 20 high school tournament, and very quickly we'll become relevant in the esports world for forming some of these leagues where players can play and get noticed before they have to start paying money to travel. That's the goal with that. So any thoughts or questions on that, J-Mac?
Nope, not from me.
You're not a very good co-host when I get a scratchy throat and I need a drink and you got nothing to throw in. I mean, you're a witty guy. How could you not come up with 60 seconds of...
I'm interested to know, how this will work, just because...
Yes, say that then. That's a great topic.
Because I just know, I guess in the eBash stores in Indianapolis, the random high school folks that come in that may seem to know each other from different schools and that kind of stuff. But if the students will rally it enough to put a team together for their high school to come out and play, with our experience in March, we don't need a lot of centers to participate to have a viable tournament. Whether if it's five 5 centers that have 2 teams, we got a 10-person team, which seems easy enough to do. So I'm hoping that centers promote it and want to be involved and want to get the high school talent out there.
Yeah, here's the way that I look at it. And again, talking with a couple centers and doing some consulting over the last couple of weeks, what ggCircuit and ggLeap want to do with the competitive system is put these events in place and empower the centers to use this to grow your stores. So we cannot call every high school in North America and try to get their high school teams put together. We can't reach out.
We wouldn't even know who to call.
Right. But there's no reason why we can't divide and conquer this as a group. So there's no reason why at eBash, and then this is what we'll do, is that, Andy here at the store, like, I'm just going to task Andy. He didn't know anything about League of Legends. He's running the store as the manager. He's doing a great job, but he knows how to reach out and get in touch with people. So, if he can, before school ends for us in the next week, he could reach out to the schools. But I don't even know that that's that important, as much as, social media, how easy social media is to use these days. Like, we are looking for high school teams, high school players to represent their high schools on a high school team in this national competition that you can win money in just for high school players. And if you want to, you can then qualify and travel to Indianapolis and win scholarship money to attend a university in Indianapolis. And again, this is just what we have on our plate right now. We run a couple of these, and I guarantee you the other colleges that are in looking and recruiting players will come to us and say, how do we get involved with that? How do we become a sponsor of that? How do we get the readout? How do we watch the matches? Like, they're just going to want to watch the streams, because they're going to be looking for players that play well as a team, that play a certain position, maybe be looking to fill at their college for their team. Like, it's so necessary for us to get started, and it just is going to take good center owners, good managers, good employees to get it going. Like, ggCircuit announcing this on Twitter or announcing this on Facebook is not going to get the message to high school players and faculty members, because again, all it takes is one faculty member at a school to be enthusiastic about it. You find out who that is, your work's done. Like, they take it and run with it. And we have contacted and had been contacted by some high school esports club teachers in the past, and we're going to reach back out to those immediately and say, listen, we've got something with meat on the bone for you. We've got a purpose for your team. Here's what you've got. And hopefully, again, I don't care if you find a really good esports organization at a school. I don't care if the same school fields 2 teams, but I just want to make sure that it's all, it needs to be like the Terre Haute South Braves A team and the Terre Haute South Braves B team. They have to still be, don't mix and match them from the schools, because that's where we get into trouble, where, you could just take the best player from 5 schools and have a better team than 5 players from one school. That's not how real sports works. That's how real sports in high school stays pretty competitive and level, until you get to the giant cities where they get people they buy moms a house in their district so that their player can come play on their team. I don't think we're going to have to worry about that right away with esports, though.
Yeah.
All right. Final thing then we're going to touch on real quickly. Gen Con 50 and the first annual ggCon. So it's a great opportunity for us to throw a little mini get together for anybody that wants to attend here in Indiana. And like, you're going to pay the price. We're going to come in and we're going to put you to work, helping us either loading or unloading or running tournaments or all of the above. We will have that information shortly. We have all of our events in their system. All of those tickets go on sale in their system on Sunday. So, for example, we're going to run a $2,500 Hearthstone event. It's set up to max out at 120 players. Like, I don't know anybody that's done a LAN event that big. A lot of people have run them online that big. Blizzard themselves runs quite a few of them. We're going to run it'll be a 3-day. So there'll be Thursday night, there'll be a pool of players of 60 players. Friday night, there'll be a pool of 60 players. Saturday night will be the championship down to the final 4. And then the final 4 return on Sunday afternoon to finish out for the money. So when I started looking at the payouts, $2,500 prize pool for Hearthstone, that's That's humongous. I mean, that's equivalent of a $10,000 prize pool for a 4-player game, or a $12,500 prize pool for League of Legends or Counter-Strike, or a $15,000 prize pool for something like Overwatch with 6 players. So if you think about it in those terms, this is a gigantic tournament. I need help all of those nights and days. Like if somebody can come in and help organize a couple tables for that, then boom, I've got one of my slots filled with somebody coming in that I know knows things about running Hearthstone, that knows about running tournaments in general, that just has an adult, professional atmosphere that can go out and make sure 2 players are seated across from each other. Like in-depth knowledge is not necessarily required, but obviously spunk and hard work and the desire to learn all about the convention industry that eBash is in will be a big part of it. So I'm calling it tentatively ggCon. I'm going to try to work the schedule around where the Extra Life and the eBash team can run things at least one of the nights without me and without the other incoming ggCircuit people, so that we can have a night where we all go out and just get together, cut loose, get to know each other a little bit as part of it. Obviously, everybody will get Gen Con badges that I can, up to a certain point. I mean, I don't know how many people will come, but we'll get them Gen Con badges. The times that you're not helping us, you'll be able to go around this gigantic, massive 4-day show. It's just going to be a good time. So we'll get that stuff posted. I'll just do signups for it. First come, first serve. I haven't decided again. I need to add up how many slots I need to fill and then divide it up by how many people want to come and tell you how many slots you'll each have to take. Chances are, if you're coming out for, let's say you want to come out for all 6 or 7 days that we're there, we'll probably need you to help 4 or 5 of those 6 or 7 days. It'll be, it's not going to be a ton of free time. We had Mark Carter and the boys out last year. And Mark was laughing. He was like, yeah, I helped run a little bit of network cable one of the setup days, and then I think they disappeared. I think they disappeared for like 4 solid days. They popped in whenever they were like dropping their loot off for us to watch all the loot they were buying from the show. So we probably won't be able to do that kind of thing again. Oh, look at, that we smashed it. You did smash it. I tell you what, those guys could party.
Lost in a Rob Zombie community somewhere.
I mean, those guys can party like nobody's business. I don't think they slept more than a couple hours. So, if you want to come and do that, like we can get you discounted tickets, and we'll refer you to the Guff guys that showed up and did the Airbnb trick for housing, which worked out really well for them. There's a lot of different tips and tricks we can get you to coming, but we really would like to get a lot of you up for the show and get you involved with what we're doing, get to know you better. And like in Devin's case, there's a lot of shows down in Hawaii, and things that he could do, with those that we're doing, come and watch how Gen Con does it, because it's not necessarily us as much as it is the Gen Con system with their tickets and the way they do it. And if you can get into a show and get them to sell your tickets for you ahead, gosh, it's super awesome. So, all right. That's all I got for tonight. I know it was a long show, but we've had a lot of stuff to cover. And obviously, if we just would do this weekly, then we could cut it down to like a 30-minute show. No, we couldn't. We couldn't even do that. Once we get going, we can't stop.
I think we've tried that. They usually average about an hour. So
yeah,
we're just excited to get going with everything, and appreciate everybody's patience with the ggCircuit, getting the ggCircuit stuff out. But those that have not had the ggCircuit stuff and all they've had is just hourly coins, it's good to see that excitement again, and then it's just going to get better with the game linking.
Yeah, I can't wait until we get this integration done so everybody can really get a sense of what ggCircuit's all about. GG Leap's awesome, and it's needed, and it is the future of management solutions for LAN centers and esports arenas, no question about it. But the rubber hits the road. I say that a lot, but the rubber hits the road with the ggCircuit system.
Yep.
Cool.
All right.
All right. Dustin trying to get in?
Dustin's trying to get on.
They can't hear you. How did you do that? You're pretty smart. Would it took you an hour and a half to figure that out? Oh my gosh. All right. See you, J-Mac.